I really enjoy these Ask Bruce Anythings, but we did get more often than normal the same question over and over and over. Mark Golden even specifically asked, Bruce, why can't you talk about current events? I've tried to explain this till I'm blue in the face on Twitter, but I think they'd rather hear it from the horse's mouth.
Oh, well, I'm happy to explain because I work there now, and because it's things that are taking place in the now that would jeopardize things in the future. And talking about things that are going on now as far as creative and behind the scenes and things of that nature are something that I agreed not to talk about. That was part of my agreement originally when I came in. When I'm gone, it's all cool. But while we are doing it, while I am here and employed by WWE, I agreed not to discuss what is taking place now. We talk about generalities, hey, the PLE's coming up and things like that, but not going to talk about what's going on now and in the here and the now and the why and why not. That's for later on. This show started as the question, frankly, I gave the name to Tony Schiavone, but people would always ask me whenever they would see me, hey, what happened when, so-and-so and so-and-so did this? And that's how we kind of came up with this show. It was a nostalgia show to talk about what happened, when, or why did we do this? Or, hey, do you remember this case? And what was the reason for doing that? And that is why we want to keep with that theme of the show.
Well said. There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth. And you also heard, if you were listening, because listening is your friend, we'll talk about all this eventually. Just, not right now. Eventually, one day, someday, Bruce will get tired of going into the office 9 days a week. And he'll just floating
around. This is my office here.
Yeah, I get that. I'm for it. But like I know, not that many years ago in the scheme of things, you just spent the day floating around the pool looking for Korean barbecue and waiting to record twice a week, and it was a blast.
Yeah.
Those were the good old days. But
yeah, that's back when it was a little bit different schedule, a little rougher. I had to work like sometimes 4 hours a week.
It was terrible.
It was, yeah. But I had my 11 a.m. bike ride every day. I'd go 11 to noon in those blazing hot Texas sun, ride for an hour, and go on great bike trails by my house. And then I would come back and I would try to get as chocolate as I could get.
Roll Tide. We'll be there again one day. Looking forward to it. Hey, let's do
I'm working on it. See, that's a little redder than, but I'm working on it a little bit.
How are you starting to get tan in October, Bruce? It's not like you're spending a lot of time outside in October.
I just got back from Mexico.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Mexico.
That's that rich people shit.
And then the next weekend I went to Santa Barbara. Did I roll my R's right there, Silva? I went to Santa Barbara the next weekend.
By the way, I got blown up. Lots of people saying, why haven't you eaten a Jack in the Box taco? What's the big deal? Just go eat one. It's like, there's not any Jack in the Box
up here.
There's no Jack in the Box here. I can't go do that. I mean, I would if I could, but there aren't any.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I binged in the last 3 weeks being in the Pacific side of the country where Jack in the Box was plentiful, and oh my gosh, I binged on Jack in the Box tacos. Love it. But it was more than that. I told the story about.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was more than that. It was the fact that they told me I couldn't.
Yes.
Eat that. I was like, yes, I can. Watch.
There we go. Watch. Yeah. Let's do some questions. Lee Milton wants to know, if Brother Love ever turned face, how would he have liked to have done it, and interviewing who?
I don't think that the character Brother Love ever could have been a babyface, because the sheer nature of Brother Love was based in the roots of evil. I mean, it was evil to the core. There was no way to go and say, hey, well, here's this one redeeming value, because I don't think Brother Love had any.
I love that. Stuart wants to know who's the funniest wrestler he's ever known off screen. So
Oh my
not on
God.
camera funny.
There's, there are quite a few. Brad Armstrong's one that comes to mind straight away because Brad Armstrong could make you laugh. Just the hell was that? Did you see this thing come up in the thing?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah, it was on your iPad. And whenever you're doing it from an iPad and you show it a thumbs up, it's going to do it back.
Why? How do I turn that off?
I don't know. I don't do podcasts from iPads. I've never
Well,
done
you're the
that.
one that told me that that's the best way to do it, so that's why I'm doing it that way. So anyway, Brad Armstrong was excellent. And Brad Armstrong could just sit there and crack you up all day and night long. It was everything. Everything was an insightful answer to anybody's question, or an insightful question to anybody's answer. Constantly, Arn Anderson is one of the funniest people that you'd ever want to meet off screen because he just would continue on and and had a very quick wit. Bobby Heenan, now Bobby was funny on screen and off. I dare say that Bobby was funnier off screen
Wow.
because he just never stopped. Gorilla Monsoon off screen, absolutely hilarious. And then the other one I think that a lot of people will be shocked at would be William Regal is positively hilarious.
He's got a deadpan delivery too that makes him even funnier,
Which
doesn't he?
is funnier, yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Like what he's saying is funny, but it's the way he says it and how he delivers it. So stone faced and matter of fact, as if it's not a joke that makes it just
Right.
over the top.
Right.
Let's do another one here. Mr. Jamie. And boy, this is a question that's right up your alley. What has surprised you most from the Paul Bosch collection? So, first of all, I guess explain to everybody how you or what the Paul Bosch collection is, and then take us through some of the things that you were really surprised to see.
I think okay, what the Paul Bosch Collection is I purchased Paul's personal office that he had in his home with all of his pictures and all of his awards and different things, and but his personal artifacts. I thought I was getting everything, but a little misled there. That's beside the point. Things happen, and when everything arrived, I really didn't know what I was getting because it was more of a gesture to help his adopted son get into a special school. His adopted son is blind and has cerebral palsy. Very talented gentleman, but when his mother passed, there was no one really there to take care of him. They didn't have 24-hour care for him. And it was to be able to pay that tuition for a while. And I was happy to do it. But I wanted, I wanted a lot of that stuff. And Valerie had always told me, Valerie, Paul's widow, had always told me this is all yours when Paul passes. And I was like, I won't just take it. There's no way I'll just take it. I'll pay you for it. And so I took care of Joey's getting him into this school, getting all that done. And they boxed it up. I paid for the moving service to go over and take everything down, clean everything up, and box it all up and send it. And I got a lot of things that I never, wanted in a million years, like about 42 best of Don Ho albums and things of that nature. But there were statues, tons of pictures, tons of things. I think that Paul wrote everything down, which is kind of where I got it from. I'm a note taker. I write things down. I write feelings down in the moment. So you can go back and look at my date books that I have in my other office in there, and you can see like on such and such a date, so and so was in a bad mood, had a bad day, this happened, that happened, this happened. Oh my God, great news. We're going to do this on such and such a date. And I just kind of wrote stream of consciousness down a lot. Paul did the same thing. That's probably where I got it from subconsciously. And reading some of those were fascinating. The notes that he used to take on the WWE programming during the time was, again, fascinating, because he would correct Gene Okerlund's grammar.
Wow.
He would write down, Okerlund said, blah, 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 and then he would write the proper way to say it. The other really kind of cool stuff, I love the financials, where, when he had his first ever $1 million year, when he would project what he would do for the year and write disappointing, or that's a good one, just little things like that. Found a lot of correspondence to him, but then he would write back and he would make a copy of the letters or whatever that he would write back and keep those. In here somewhere I have that, somewhere in here I have a Dave Meltzer thing somewhere in here, but
Where he was talking to Dave or he was writing about Dave?
where Dave was lying about things. I don't know. But things like that. Just pictures of him in Japan and in Hawaii, and different tidbits. It was more the tidbits that were like, God, this is fascinating. There is about half a dozen boxes, and probably about this size, maybe smaller, but you know what I'm talking about, like those little newspaper people write, on their little notepads.
Yeah.
Boxes of war plans for World War II, for the battle for the Hurtgen Forest that he wrote a book about. And they're literal battle plans. There are places in the middle of it where you pull it out and there's maps. And there's this infantry here, this group here, and arrows and things and of that nature that just, I was amazed. But you could go down a rabbit hole big time. I still haven't been able to get through all of it. My wife finally got tired of it taking up half of the basement, and went through and threw away a lot of duplicate stuff, duplicate things that had nothing to do with wrestling. And then I started looking at it and go, yeah, but I still don't need Don Ho's best hits, greatest hits, and we threw that away too. So there was a lot of just great memorabilia, but not just wrestling. I think when you go back, and if you're a war buff in it all, it was fascinating to see the guy who is handwriting the here are the plans, guys. That's what we're going to do. And that was incredible. But just also notes about, reminder to call Wahoo. Wahoo will be in North Carolina on such and such a date. Andre will be in Montreal on such and such a date, so that he knew they would be there and that he could call them and talk to them. It was just a different time. We didn't have cell phones then.
I gotta ask, pardon my ignorance, but did you just say Paul Bosch wrote a book about battle?
Yeah, The Road to Hurtgen, or the Hurtgen Forest.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, and it's an excellent book. I mean, I'm not, somebody that I like history. I love reading about that stuff, but I would probably have to admit that before I read Paul's book, that I wasn't really that big of a history buff. And once I read his book, very interesting. But then once now that I have the actual battle plans and things of that nature, it's even more interesting.
Yeah, I just found it on Amazon. This is
Yeah.
amazing. How did I not know this? The
Yeah.
Road to Hurricane Forest in Hell is the name of it.
Yeah, I got a whole box of them here if you think we should sell them or something.
Yeah, I'll take one. I'd like to have one.
That's $85.
Well, it's $11 on Amazon. So
What?
yeah, it's $11. Not gonna have
Is
it
it
Friday.
signed? Is it signed?
No,
Okay then.
I see. I see.
I think all mine are signed.